Someone said something to me that changed everything for me. A new way of thinking, and I'm going to be talking about it. Now, before October last year, I was doing my own thing. I was, on top of the world. I've never been a regular, typical person that likes to work 9 to 5. I've always been the mindset of work 9 to 5, use the phone your 5 to 9. And that's what I did. I found my 5 to 9 and I started up a car detailing business in my area and I made over $10,000 profit. I fell on top of the world. I used that money to travel. I saved something into, regular TFSAs and whatnot. And I was like, damn, I reached the peak. I keep building on this scale, this car detailing business. And, from there, I'm just going to keep going and going, plus other things involved too. So I'm reaching the peak of my life. I'm going from there. And I think that's it. So, but, I always like to meet new people, network with new people. And I met my now mentor. And we had a conversation about me. He was, obviously in the financial industry, and we had a single conversation. And I asked him what he does, and he told me how much he makes. And I'm like, man, show me how you do this. Like, show me like what's in it. And he said that okay, we'll sit down and talk. So we sat down and talked, and it really completely blew my mind. What was the conversation about? Well, the conversation was about multi-ended income. Now, what do I mean by multi-ended income? He told me, he said, the average Canadian works to the age of 65, then become dependent on the government and the next of kin. Why? Because most Canadians leave with $40,000 in their bank account when they retire. Now, why is that? Because they put time for money, and at the end of the day, they have no time and no money. Now, what do I mean by that? So you work hard, 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 hard from day one to day 65. You work from January 1st to December 31st. The money you've worked so hard to make, do you own that income or you have to work again the next year? If your answer is no, you don't own that income, then you know where you're in single handed income. So you have to work every single year to own that income over and over again. And they lack basic financial education, and now what happens? And that's what happened. And he told me, he said, look at what you're doing. You made $10,000 from your car detailing business, but do you really own that income or that income owns you? Which means that means you're dependent on that income. And I thought to myself, wow, I'm dependent on that income. And I said, how can I do it in a way that I can scale it and I don't have to depend on income. Money keeps flowing in regardless whether I'm working. And he told me there was a way through a philosophy called the New Art of Living. And everyone would agree with me that we all need freedom, security, and peace of mind. When followed that with a system, you can actually build and scale something that money is going to keep generating in and out and in and out. And when he said that to me, that really shifted something in me. And I started to think and see money a little bit different. I was like, wow, that we've all been, we're all dependent on income. If we don't work, no money's going to flow in. But what if there was a system in place where money's going to keep flowing in, whether you work or not, as soon as you've built it? And that was a situation that changed my life and changed my mind. So obviously after that, I started the journey. I mentored under him, still under him, and I obviously learned areas about the business. I got licensed, and it's not really been as easy. I wouldn't lie and say, oh yeah, it's been all smooth and sales and all of that. No, no, no. It's been difficult, but it's a work in progress. I've been working through it, and with me all working through it, I got licensed. After I got licensed, made my first paycheck 4 months ago. And I felt on top of the world that wow, this actually works. So obviously, I was like, damn, this actually works. And I've been scaling from there, and I've started to see things, you know, a little bit more differently. So why am I sharing this publicly? I'm sharing this publicly because I wish someone would have told me this and shown me this at 19. So if any of this resonates to you, subscribe and follow along because this is just the beginning of the journey.